So I shot this whole video yesterday about COVID-19 and how it's affecting my life. And then this morning I got a text from my closest friend, Dan Mace.
Fuck, have I gone?
You're there.
Yeah, I got a call from Ken, from my doctor, and he was like, "You positive?" And I was like, "Positive for what?" And he's like, "Positive for the coronavirus."
Dan's fine. He's gonna be fine. Most of the effects of the coronavirus he's already experienced, and he's doing well. He's just he's the first person that I know. He's the first person very close to me who has been confirmed to have the virus. Candace put these outside of our house so you can, before you come in. I just can't get over how weird this whole thing is. Like how strange a phenomena this pandemic is. What feels different about this is that it affects everyone. Someone who lives in China and you're in Wuhan and you were the first person to be affected by this, or you're my friend in South Africa, you're also affected by this. I'm affected by this, and the clerk at the grocery store is affected by this. It's like we are all in this together, and that's the thing. That's the part that's strange for me. That's the thing that makes it feel so weird. It's like there is no good guy and bad guy. There's no one did this to anyone, and we're all being impacted. And because of that, we all have to work together to overcome this. And I don't know, definitely not in my lifetime, but I can't think of another circumstance in modern history where that has been the case. Globally, we're all in this together. It's 2 in the afternoon right now, and this is like a line of people waiting to get into this grocery store. How have you guys been dealing with just letting a few people in at a time?
Yeah, like the 2 go out, 2 go in.
And you're limited what people can buy?
Yeah, we limited one. Come on, man.
So the kids are home from school. Keeping them busy during the day is really hard to do. Candace is doing an amazing job of like putting together worksheets and curriculums, and she's doing all the heavy lifting, but it's tough. Why do we have to wash our hands so much?
Because of the flu. And because of the coronavirus.
What's the coronavirus?
It's a different way of saying the flu.
A different way of saying the flu? This street here is called Abbot Kinney. It's like a big shopping street near. This street would be packed on a Friday. These sidewalks would be as crowded as can be. I live near here, I've never seen it this quiet down here. And every store, almost every store has a sign that says, "We're closed." The weed store here is kind of the only store open on the whole street. Priorities, California, priorities. And day to day, it's just like, we're stuck in our house. We're just killing time. We have been taking the kids out when we can be responsible. They have to get out of the house. While respecting social distancing, we're still doing family bike rides just to get out of the house. Just kind of go around the block, but kids like it. And then I've also been running and I've been surfing every day. Yeah, basically whoa, bike fell over. Basically I run and I surf. And I run along this path here, not a lot of people, and then I I surf right here in the water, and when you're out in the water, you're not near people. So I'm happy that my hobbies are socially distancing hobbies anyways. I like to run, I like to surf, that's it. I am glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm in Southern California, mostly because we have a lot of opportunities to go outside. And I think back to what it would be like in New York, and while I'm sad that I'm not there to experience it and be in a place that feels like my home, I'm definitely glad to not be there. Yo, what's it like there?
Can I just show you?
Yeah, show me.
Dude, look at Broadway. It is an absolute ghost town. Casey, it is 70 degrees here. Any other day, there would be zillions of people out. Like this bus driver's wearing a mask, and that bus is empty. So yeah, there you have it. It's weird, man. It's weird. I wish you were here to just feel what it's like here, because I've never experienced anything like this.
I remember hearing about it. This was like back in February. It was in the news. It occupied the same space in my brain that like the swine flu and the bird flu and SARS and all these diseases that like in my lifetime I've heard about. But they're a little bit like the boogeyman. Like you hear about it, but I don't remember any of those diseases having like any impact on me personally. I don't remember them ever actually like touching me. And then like one by one, things started happening. The night that I found out Tom Hanks and his wife had contracted COVID-19. And then the NBA announced they weren't gonna have any more games. That made it, that moment made it so real for me. Like in that exact moment. How do you feel now?
Now, I'm trying my hardest not to panic, but at the same time, I'm also thinking like, I tried to get a test and I got a doctor to come to my house. This is in Los Angeles. A doctor came to the house and he was like, sorry, we're not allowed to test for coronavirus. And I was like, what do you mean you can't test for the coronavirus? He was like, we just not issued any tests for the coronavirus. That's who I confide in a doctor that comes to my house, like a medical professional that said to me, we're not allowed to test for the coronavirus unless it's absolutely severe. So you obviously don't have the virus. And like, I think that mentality is wrong.
Right, if you had known when that doctor came to see you that you had corona, you wouldn't have flown to South Africa, you wouldn't have seen your parents.
No ways, dude. Yeah, I would have. There's no ways. Like when I arrived, I went to my bachelor's, I hung out with my parents because I didn't feel sick anymore. I felt a little bit weird. But I didn't feel like I had the coronavirus.
One thing that's really super strange is if you ever played like Grand Theft Auto or you've ever been to Santa Monica or Venice, you know LAX is there. So right here is where all planes take off, like all day, every day, planes. And there are no planes. I'll like film this area with the zoom lens and I'll time lapse it. No planes in the sky. Like, you're a healthy 29-year-old. What were the symptoms like? Was it bad?
Yeah, bro. When I was trying to tell everybody, I was like, guys, I'm seriously sick. Something's not right. And the doctor was like, you know, well, there's nothing we can really do except treat it like a flu. I couldn't, like, breathe properly. That was the whole thing. It was like my lungs were so heavy. And I'd get keen and I'd stand up and I'd feel like I was going to faint. And then I would go to sleep and wake up like 10 hours later and I'd be like, what is going on?
I always wear a fanny pack now. It's really difficult to know, like in your brain, how to feel about something like this. And the feeling is overwhelming. Like I feel overwhelmed by this, but that's contradicted by the fact that like I'm genuinely not scared of the virus. I'm not scared of being sick. I feel like those things I see as like inevitables. Like I'm definitely gonna get sick. I hope I'm less sick than more sick. For whatever reason, that part doesn't scare me. I'm able to understand and accept that. The aspects of this that like scare me are the things like no one's working right now. And you look at like numbers, like I was reading the New York Times, an article about unemployment, like applications to get money, unemployment checks. And the numbers are all off the charts. I think of it in terms of my dad. My dad has a coffee shop and he's like handling money and interacting with people all day. So I'm glad he closed it down, but my dad has a bunch of employees and all this like food that's gonna go bad in the coffee shop and like, this is my dad's coffee shop. So come here and say hi to this guy.
Hi, how are you?
And then you realize it's not just my dad, but it's all over the country, all over the world. That's what people are being confronted with. And that scares the out of me. The scariest times in my life were those moments where I couldn't make ends meet. And when you have an external force, something that's out of everyone's control, and it's preventing people from doing what they do to make a living, which pays for their food, that scares me. So what does this mean for your wedding?
Bro, it ruins two things. Like obviously the wedding's been postponed till December, but then I was like, Gabs and I, we were like, we should still just go and get married, like in some small town in the middle of South Africa. And then I was planning all of that, and I thought that that would be so romantic and great, but no, I'm not allowed to leave my front door. So if we are going to get married, we've got to tell the priest that what the case is. He's got to come in here with a hazmat suit on, and
stay home, avoid people. And look, anytime there's like a hurricane where there's big waves, there's always that jerk out there surfing. If there's ever a huge snowstorm in New York City, there's some jerk who gets on his snowboard behind a truck and races around Manhattan just to be cool. The thing is, that jerk on that snowboard is putting himself in danger, and maybe he's putting his friends in danger because they're out driving when they shouldn't be. To not heed the warnings of from the CDC, from the WHO, to not stay home, to not respect what's being asked here, doesn't just put you in jeopardy the way that I put myself in jeopardy by running around during a snowstorm. It puts everyone in jeopardy. That should be enough motivation to keep you at home. That should be enough motivation to keep you away from crowds or any gatherings whatsoever. So to end this, one of the things that's been tough for me is not knowing how to help. How can I help those in need? So I had an idea to like make custom shirts or something, and we could sell them and donate all the money to a nonprofit. I don't know that we're gonna be able to make shirts, so instead Fanjoy, that does all my merch, they said they've got some old merch. So here's what we decided. If you go to shopcaseyneistat.com, if you've ever wanted to buy any of my old sweatshirts or t-shirts, we've discounted them, and then 100% of the proceeds. So that means the cut that I would take and the cut that Fanjoy, the company that makes my my merch, the cut that they would take, 100% of that's being donated to Feeding America. Feeding America is a nonprofit that feeds, you know, people in need all over this country. I also made a personal cash donation to Feeding America, but if you go to shopcaseyneistat.com, if you don't want to buy any of my old shirts, which I understand, there's a link there where you could donate any amount of money to Feeding America, which is the important part. On their website, it says $1 can provide 10 meals to those in need. And also, if you are someone in need, you can find on their website where to find food banks and other places like that where you could find resources for you and your family if you find yourself in a compromised position because of all this. Are you using this, Bubba? You gotta flip it. There, don't touch it. Hey, no. I'm thinking of all of you, not just my fellow Americans, but people all over the world who might see my YouTube videos, who might be dealing with this. And good luck. Stay healthy. Wash your hands a lot. Stay away from people. All right, I'll see you later.